Finally, Left Eye Ego has come back to review another movie. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? You got Left Eye Ego, and today I am joined by another special guest, one of the main homies that I had back in Philadelphia. He actually recently came to visit us for the San Antonio Comic Con that we had this past weekend. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to my man, the Accipiter. Accipiter, how you doing today, man?
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much, man. I am very anxious to get in and do this review with you. I know we were talking about this months ago, but I'm glad we finally got a chance to sit down and finally
Yeah.
do that. All right,
Well,
all
thanks
right.
for having me on.
Man, I've been trying to have you on for a while, so I'm glad you're finally able to do this, man. I'm excited about this.
Yeah. You leave Pennsylvania and you're a big YouTuber now.
I had no expectation of how this is gonna turn out, man. I told
Talking
you
to a celebrity now.
I, yes, let it shine off on you. Let it shine off on you. When Accipiter came to visit, we actually went to go see Black Adam, and so we were kind of waiting until that there was some time that passed and some spoilers could be released before we actually did our official review of the movie. So be forewarned, there are definitely going to be spoilers in this review that we're doing today.
Yeah.
The way we'll do it is kind of be similar to the way I did my Smile review. We'll kind of go over the I guess the whole part of the movie in the separate acts, act one, act two, act three. And then I'll get Accipiter's input on his initial thoughts, as well as the casting, the plot, the pacing, and how this sets up future DC projects moving forward. And so, as always, we don't do 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 stars. No, 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 no. That's too humble, and we don't do that around here. We judge everything from 1 to 5 egos.
Of course we
All right, so
do. That's why you're ego.
it's definitely why I'm ego, guys.
Uh,
All right. So the movie essentially starts out. I'll go basically by act. In Act One, we've actually got them establishing all the major characters in the, I guess, the nation of Kahndaq. Starts out with explaining that Kahndaq has pretty much been under some kind of foreign rule since its inception, and that one of the main components that they're looking for is a compound called Eternium. And so they've got pretty much slaves slaving away in, I guess, mining colonies trying to get this Eternium to give to their ruler or overlord. So they have a scene where one man is actually finding a good portion of Eternium, and he tries to get away with it, and he's almost completely crushed by people that actually want the Eternium more than he does. And so there's a young child that says, hey, move out of the way, let's let him get up to the overseer so that he can get his reward. And he is rewarded with a I guess it's a thrust from a sword and a Spartan kick back down the
yeah.
mine. um, the boy is saying how terrible this is, and he almost tries to he hits the overseer and runs away, and his father is saying, well, hey, don't really cause any trouble. And the boys tell him, hey, we need a ruler. And the father is saying, you know what, we need to save that for someone else, not in this family.
You
All
don't
right.
want no part of this.
Yeah, want no parts of that. There's some time that passes in later on in there. The boy is caught for I guess for defying the rules of the overlords, and they're about to execute him. And so they make it kind of a theme about throwing up. What I keep thinking is the Rockefeller
Yeah.
Jay-Z dynasty sign. Yeah. Every time I see it, I'm just like, why are we throwing up the rock in here? So
Corny.
right. So the boy's about to be executed, and right before the I guess the axe swings down to take off his head, he's transported to where the seven wizards are, who grant him the powers of Shazam. And then after that, you see him essentially go right at the king, and the I guess the structure that's holding it all crumbles down. And then they say that neither the king nor Teth Adams or Shazam was ever seen until this time. Act two pretty much picks up with you see the I know they don't actually say her name, but her name is Isis, in the movie, and
It's
she's actually
Adriana.
yes, is it they call her
Adriana.
Adriana? Okay,
It's
it's Adriana.
Adriana. Hmm.
Okay, weirdly, because
I
they call her
they called her Isis because she was the same actress for later.
that's yeah, that one. That was the thing. They didn't. There's no slash or hyphen next to it. It just
Yeah,
says
exactly.
ISIS, and you're confused. So
Yeah,
they show her with her brother, and they're trying to look for, I guess, this crown of Eternium that's supposed to signal impending doom for whomever wears it. And they go into this mysterious cave that she's found, and before she can actually look anywhere, they're actually attacked by Intergang, who runs the nation of Kondak. And so before she's assassinated, she looks at some of the markings and says the name Shazam. And then that's the scene where you see Black Adam just show up with the hood on, and he's taking out folks left and right. He was pretty much Kondakian Raiden, because he was just frying everyone with his hands and his fingers here.
yeah, essentially.
Yeah, and they show him pretty much fighting off the bad guys before he gets hurt with a missile that contains Eternium, and they don't really explain how you weaponized it there. But
Yeah,
anyway, while this is going on, the Justice Society of America, I guess it's of America, led by Hawkman, who's played by Aldous Hodge, is in contact with Amanda Waller, and Amanda Waller is informing him what's going on in Kondak. And so he's saying, General, Amanda Waller will take care of this for you. The Justice Society, does the right thing. I'm going to get my old friend, I'll get my guy, Dr. Fate, on it, and we'll assemble a team. We get second generation. Goodness
Cyclone
gracious.
and Atom Smasher.
We get second generation Atom Smasher, and we get Cyclone as well. So it's
Cyclone.
four people going after a demigod, right? And Act Two is
Sounds like
essentially
a plan.
right. So and Act Two is essentially them fighting Black Adam, and then there's the reveal that kind of turns everything on its head. The reveal is the fact that the boy that we see, although he was technically the champion chosen by Shazam, he actually isn't The Rock's character, Teth Adam. It turns out that while he was doing the skirmishes and kind of fighting the Overlord and the Ruler there, his father and mother were gravely wounded. Now his mom actually dies, but and his dad is, and I guess his dad, played by Rock, is actually kind of bleeding out at this point. So his son actually transfers his powers of Shazam into the Rock, his father's character. And so he actually gets the look of Black Adam. And so as soon as that happens, the kid is hit with like an assassin's arrow. I mean, man, this guy was a sharpshooter, because you
Yeah,
barely
right.
heard it, but they showed you like, whoa, the arrow is wow. And
Oh
so
yeah,
it's right. So the son dies, and so Teth Adam, who has now had the powers of Shazam, he's completely enraged, and he goes after the ruler of Kondak as he's about to put on the crown of Eternium and turn into the demon known as Sabak. And so while that's the flashback that we see in Act Two, that lets us know, oh, this actually isn't the Black Adam that we were shown. It's not a child in a man's body like Billy Batson through
Shazam.
Shazam, but it's actually a man that literally just got the powers and let his rage overtake him, and he went and toppled pretty much that empire. But the inscriptions that were said to release him were actually to release him from his prison, and not to actually have him help the nation of Kondak. I'm skipping over quite a bit because it was kind of it's fastly paced movie. I'm just trying to get you guys to
Yeah, yeah.
the exciting parts of it all. Act three, we find out that Sabak kind of is arisen because he actually has a bloodline of his own that he can claim to conjure himself. And so at this point, the Justice Society says, "Hey, Black Adam, we shouldn't really be fighting each other, even though we're gonna lock you away." And they actually wind up locking him away because he has a power surge that hurts. I keep calling her Isis on there, but
Yeah,
she hurts
Adriana.
Isis. Adriana's son,
Adriana.
it right in a fit of rage when
The son I
Black
don't
Adam's
remember the
trying to
name of. But
she what?
I said the son I don't remember the name of. But
Right. I'm trying to remember the son's name too, but in a there's a hostage situation where the boy is taken hostage, and Black Adam tries to save him, and in a fit of rage, his I guess his Raiden his Raiden energy harms the boy again, and at that point he agrees to be imprisoned by Amanda Waller and her crew. And so at this point, the Audacious Society goes after Sabak alone, and find out that in not so many ways they're not really a match for him, with Dr. Fate finding that out firsthand.
yeah,
And Dr. Fate telepathically contacts Black Adam to tell him, "Hey, we really need you." There's some movie magic there with the Rock, with Black Adam getting out of his imprisonment to
yep,
shithing Shazam and finally take on Sabak in the final act. There's some resolution there, and he winds up saying that he wants to be the protector of conduct and not necessarily its ruler, because it's always been under some kind of rule. And that brings us to where Accipiter's favorite part was the cameo of Henry Cavill, his official triumphant return to the Man of Steel. Yeah, he didn't want to. He wanted to be real subtle with you guys about where his allegiances lie. All right. I know that I have talked for quite a bit here, but Accipiter, when it comes to you, what were your initial thoughts of the movie?
initial thoughts. I enjoyed it. It was good for what it was. Um, Superhero action flick. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of those nowadays. I feel like we got it in the first slate of Marvel. Even DC in general, like Man of Steel, there's a lot of action. Now I feel like they're going political, agenda driven, um, more drama than anything. So that's why I enjoyed it. Um, I mean, that's what superheroes are about initially, right? It's the fighting,
Okay.
the action. So I definitely enjoyed all that. Plot could have been better. I mean, we'll get into that obviously, um,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, it was fun. Of course, I love the cameo at the end.
Of course you did.
I mean, because initially I wasn't into this movie at all until I
Okay.
heard Henry Cavill's coming back. Truth be told, so I mean, I was kind of giving up on DC and superhero movies in general, but I heard that. I went to see it, and I was pleasantly surprised. So
All right. You know what? I will take pleasantly surprised at this point. I mean, it's not like you go in there with the worst of intentions or thinking it's going to be terrible, but the fact that it actually subverted your expectations in a good way is
yes,
something that I can accept and be okay with. All right.
yes, yes.
So, all right. So once we get to this, let's go ahead and jump into it with the casting. All right. I'm just going to read you off a few names that I can recall on here. All right. Of course, we've got Dwayne The Rock Johnson playing the titular character of Black Adam. Sarah Shahi is playing Adriana, or Isis, that we see on there.
Yes.
I also remember
Which I feel
her.
like is a small hint, but go ahead.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I guess I couldn't remember her name until you said it, but I remember her literally playing a character called Shaw, and it was a CBS show called Person of Interest. She played a cold-hearted assassin. She was actually a pretty cool character.
All right.
We've got Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate or Kent Nelson. Noah Centineo played Adam Smasher. Of course, Henry Cavill came through with the cameo of the Man of Steel. Quintessa Swindell played Cyclone. Jennifer Holland, who was actually, you told me she was actually in Peacemaker, right? She was
Yes,
the
she
really
was the
drunk.
agent that. Yeah, she was the agent who headed the whole operation with Peacemaker.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Aldous Hodge played Hawkman. Aldous Hodge is actually one of my favorite actors. I remember when he played Alec Hardison in Leverage. So I really enjoy him as an actor. We'll talk about him as Hawkman. So that was kind of where it's, eh,
Yeah. I'm not
Viola
too familiar
Davis.
with him, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean
like the actor, I'm not too familiar with. So.
he played a comedic role, but he was a tech genius. It's just that he just did it for to do crimes, and so when he got caught, they actually wanted making him a good guy. So he would actually
Uh,
help them pull heists. It was actually pretty good popcorn show. And the boy that's actually Adriana's son, his name was Amon, but his name is Bodhi
Oh, okay. That's
Sabangui.
right.
So as far as casting, if we're going from one ego, which is awful, humble casting, that's going to be very cookie cutter and not standing out, to five egos stands out completely. Where would you go with that based on your estimation of casting?
Casting. Let's see. I'd say a three.
Okay.
Solid three. It wasn't perfect. There were some decent ones. Obviously, I think Pierce Brosnan, perfect for Doctor Fate.
Oh, that's five egos,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, that one's five egos. Um, I mean, Hawkman, he's a good actor. I'll give him that. Um,
Mhm.
Cyclone and Atom Smasher, they were decent. I feel like they were more just well, one was comic
There.
relief, just and Cyclone was just there. So
Fair point.
and The Rock did good for what it was. You know, I mean, he didn't have to do too much, honestly.
Not
So
really.
and that's what he's good at, I guess. I
Yeah.
personally think he's just plays the same person in everything he's in. So
You and Shiro. You and Shiro.
sorry,
Shiro.
that's what I
He
think.
he does, and I mean, so, and I think this goes in line with the casting. Is that when you get The Rock, you know that for the most part, you're going to get him giving
The
his
Rock.
all for the role, right? He's saying,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to be the best Rock I can be for this role, requiring The Rock. However, I would have
He-
expected him at when I we talked about this, that number one,
yeah.
I want the widow's peak. Number two, I want the ears. You know what I
Yep.
mean? I want to
Yep.
see the magical influence outside of your body because we all know that. But let's do the wig, go all the way with it. Give me the widow's peak, give me the pointy ears.
I mean,
The
didn't he
other
have a widow's peak before he went bald?
Yeah,
I feel
he
like he
did.
did.
Yes.
He actually
Right.
looked like the role at
Right.
one point. I mean, to
That's
be
the weird
fair, it was what 7 years in the making.
and
Right.
so I think that was the one thing that, kind of boost the casting for me. I don't necessarily like a race swapped Hawkman, and I think I would need caveats
Yes.
behind the casting.
That's why I'm giving
Uh,
it a three.
that's a three. That's what, yeah. But I'd say,
Average. Average.
what makes it a four, it makes it a four with, The Rock playing The Rock. Um, excellent, excellent, excellent Pierce Brosnan as Kent Nelson. you
Hmm.
know, Amanda Waller makes sense
Yes.
given
Yes.
that. So I mean, those are things that are four, but some of the casting choices for Cyclone and for Adam Smasher kind of bring it back down to about a three on there. Plot. The plot. For this one, we
We
got
did
one
the
to five
plot.
egos for the
Oh
plot.
no.
Right.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So what did you think in terms of the plot? What does it really set for you? Like between the one and five egos on there.
Um, I mean, the plot was decent. Uh, the setting up of the Justice Society, I think, is great. Um, Amanda Waller being involved with the Justice Society, I wish they would explain that better. Um,
Hmm.
I hope they do eventually. Um, but yeah, the Justice Society in general is going to be great. It's going to be a different setting up a different team that DC needs. Um, I wish they would do something with the history of going back into the history of the Justice Society. Anyway, but yeah, I like the whole setup of the Justice Society. The Amanda Waller aspect of it. I mean, it makes sense with what's going on. I guess you need her to kind of tie in with her
Why it's a threat.
intel. Yeah, why he's a threat, the intel. Obviously, that was the way they set up Superman as well. Um, but yeah, they had the magic lore in it with the Eternium, which is actually the Rock of Eternity. I mean, they're setting up the whole demon aspect. You have all this stuff that you're going to set up for the DC universe. I think. I mean, more so in the magical realm, which could open
Okay.
possibilities to the Justice
Okay.
League Dark. So, I mean, that's
Okay.
why I like that they're setting up Justice Society because now you're going to set up more teams. Um,
Okay.
there's a lot of possibility in that.
Okay. All right.
But in general, I think the plot was okay.
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 Another three.
Yeah, another
I,
three. Another
I
three.
think I'm. I think I might be a little bit more generous with you and go give it a four for plot, for no other reason than the fact that I was really irritated watching this movie because I was thinking they put two 12-year-olds in grown men's bodies and said, go fight. It's like you chose the kid from Kondak and you chose Billy Batson. I'm about to watch a fight like it's going to be recess and I'm in the fourth grade. Like, is everyone in Kondak just going to be like, fight, 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 fight? Bunch of
Yeah,
12 year
yeah.
olds.
But
So
they changed that on you.
they did. And that's why I say it was a
So
pleasant surprise because they're explaining why, hey, look, I'm really upset that I didn't want to get involved in any conflict against the ruler. I was okay being subjugated, but you took my son away from me, and you took my
yeah,
wife away from me too. And they
yeah,
explain why they call him Black Adam. It's a little bit cheesy, however,
yeah. I
but
mean,
I mean,
yeah. The whole man out of time. I
right?
mean,
Yeah,
it's an easy trope to do, and
it's an
that's how
easy
you add
trope.
the comedic relief to the
Yeah,
whole thing.
and
And
that's why I'll say for me it's kind of I'll give it at least a four. I mean they
okay,
made it so that they explained everything for the most part that they needed to. The only thing that would have made way more sense to me, which would have gotten rid of the Justice Society entirely, would have been the fact that if you're telling me that he isn't technically the Wizards champion, right?
right,
And the wizard explained to Billy Batson that the original champion got corrupted and we had to imprison him. I would have thought that the wizards from beyond the grave would have contacted Billy Batson and the Marvel family saying my original champion is is loose and you need to go stop him. There's no
yeah,
time. I will, magically whisk you to Kondak, go fight him. And I thought
yeah,
that that would have been better of a way to explain to him for Billy Batson to actually be a grown up, an adult, and say, "Hey, you know, we have we've been given a gift here, and we're supposed to actually be a protector of people, yet you're going around destroying everything." Or the scene where Black Adam actually hurts the boy. Shazam could have been the one to say, "Hey, you need to relinquish the power." And then he could
yeah,
have
right,
come back to him and say, "Hey, you know what? Sabak is too much for us. We don't have enough dark energy or dark magic, whatever, to defeat him. We need you. We don't. I don't want you to have this power and this power that you have, but I understand that he's a greater threat, and so I'm going to make the hard decision as Shazam and give you back the power. Go. Let's all fight Sabak together." And then he says,
I
"Hey,
mean,
get out of my country." At the
e-
end,
essentially, what you're saying is the new 52 version of Shazam. Like that's how
I know.
Jeff Johns established that whole thing.
I know, and that's why I'm saying
I
that,
mean,
that would have been better for me because it would have tied in Shazam and Black Adam because I know people now are going to go to see, I'm guessing it'll either be Shazam 3 or Black Adam
yeah,
2 where they meet and it's not going to make sense. I said,
right,
you would have had to have tied that in during Black Adam's role. Plus the can you imagine the fight sequences where his lightning actually just turns you back into the child form, like
yeah.
hitting him with a Hadouken and changing the kid back to himself, and then like him knocking them out,
Hadouken!
and then right, him like uppercutting one of them and shocking them back to their normal self, and then them calling back Shazam to be Lightning and go back at him. You'd have all these
Shazam!
fight seasons. Yeah, it would look like punch one, shock, punch one, shock, punch one, shock, but they keep coming back at
Yeah,
him, and they have to figure out a way to regroup. That would have been that's a missed opportunity in my eyes for a great fight scene to establish pretty much how badass Black Adam is. That hey, you guys might have had the power longer, but you're not channeling it from a raw space like I am. And
yeah,
that way I
exactly.
have the
And they're just
advantage.
kids. So
and they're just kids, right? Like you
just
don't have a
kids.
killer
They
instinct.
think they think the powers are fun in games, and we're going to be
Right,
superheroes until an
right,
actual threat comes and he wants your
right,
powers.
right.
Like,
And I, and that yeah, and to me, it's like that would have actually been a much better plot point. But I understand why you tried to put in the JSA on there as well. So as far
yeah.
as that, the next thing we're pretty much looking at is the pacing of the movie. What were your thoughts from like 1 to 5 egos on the actual pace of the movie?
So this was it's between a two and a three for me.
Okay.
Only because like it was a lot to digest with that whole movie. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, you just get thrown in. It's just here it is. Here's conduct. Here's what's happening. Then you're in the modern times. Here it is. And then here's the Justice Society, by the way. Oh, Amanda Waller's in control? How'd that happen? When did that happen? Where's the Justice Society been this whole time? Especially when you're telling me they're this old. Like, and then we just jump right into him being Black Adam. He escaped. They're attacking him just because he's a threat. Why? They didn't really explain that, right? I mean, I feel like he just shows up and they're like, okay, we got to stop him. But
They
why? He
really
didn't
did.
do anything yet. He really didn't do
Unfortunately,
anything at that point.
ironically, Amanda Waller knew more about Black Adam than everybody else, including people watching the movie.
Exactly, exactly. I
I,
didn't
I,
understand that part. And
yeah, then
and then we skip ahead again, and now we're into the demons. They explain the demons like that. I mean, here's a crown of power. Say our name, Sabak. Okay, but you didn't establish the Sabak is like Shazam, where it's an acronym for the demons. So you could have explained that because that's a whole other lore you could have added. Uh, and then it jumps into their whole fight, and we're done.
I,
Done.
I will say that you didn't watch as many movies as I did in the '90s, so I
No,
was okay with
that
that.
no,
That's why
it is 90s action
it
packed.
was
Yes,
it's,
yes.
it was
But that's why
very
I enjoyed
'90s,
it too.
right?
So
It w- basically the pacing of the movie was if we're not talking, we're fighting. That was
yeah,
it,
yes, yes.
and
But
they
that's the
would let you
thing.
know.
I did enjoy that.
Mhm.
It's just I feel like there could have been so much more potential with this.
You
That's
know
all.
what? I
That's
will.
all.
I will say. I mean, pacing was a it was a welcomed four. If not for nothing else, that for a superhero movie, there was actually action going on. For The Rock actually
Okay, fair.
looking like the character and being a comic book. It was literally like reading, and you saw that on each page. There's action, there's movement, they emote. No one's you know how grave the situation is because you can actually see it on their face. Even though people say The Rock looks like a thumb, he actually can emote a little bit. He can do angry
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he can do angry and disinterested, and kind of the look that I wanted Namor to have. He kind of gives off that kind of look, like don't waste my time. I'm
Yeah,
above this. And so I will say that because they were able to do that, I'm okay with the pacing of the thing because I knew when there were high stakes. You knew when people were unsure or when they were excited. They actually let them emote. It wasn't as if this is just another Tuesday. And I think that's kind
okay.
of what was happening with some of the Marvel movies and to an extent some of the DC movies. They went so
Yeah,
dark and grave. If everything's dark and everything's so grave, then everything is dark and grave and there's nothing to really be excited about or
right.
hopeful
Yeah,
about.
right.
Which is,
Yeah,
why I think that it helped that you had Henry Cavill show up at the end for his cameo, because now he doesn't have to be the dark and brooding and remorseful version of Superman. He gets to
yeah,
play, the savior role that he always intended to want to play. He gets to actually wear the emblem of hope and be more representative of that, and he can do that as a foil of sorts to Black Adam.
yeah.
So I will say that's why I appreciate the pacing, so that when they got to the point where they wanted to show you that cameo, they let you know everything slowed down. It was just straight up dialogue,
True,
barely any
true.
music, and they let you know that you could feel the moments. So I would say they
Oh
gave you
yeah,
enough time to rest between the action sequences to know the stakes were high. You know. So
Okay, you convinced me. I'm gonna do a three.
that's that's why I say that. Now that I'm looking back on it, I would say that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know they left out just enough so that a prequel would be wanted, but not necessarily
That
necessary. If that
and
makes
that's what I
sense.
was kind of thinking that they were aiming for. Just like with the Justice League initially, by
Right.
introducing Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman, you didn't really know
Right.
much about them. To get you interested enough to where you're like, well, I want to know about his backstory. So
Right.
yeah, I could see
I,
that then.
and
Yeah.
that kind of brings us to the most important thing is from 1 to 5 egos, how you think this sets up future DC projects. So I mean, first of all, just
Oh
give me
yeah.
the rating and then take me where you think it might go based on what you saw.
So much. Definitely a five. They're setting up a lot with this. A lot
Okay.
of Easter eggs. I feel like, and then especially with Superman. Um,
How can we forget?
yeah, come on, it's my boy. Um,
This guy.
yeah, they're definitely setting up a lot. I mean, Justice Society in general, right there. You have. I mean, it's only four members. There's obviously a lot more than that. You have a whole slew of Justice Society you can set up. Um,
True.
now with Black Adam, the Rock of Eternity, and the demons you're setting up, like you have the whole magical realm now a possibility. So, like I was saying earlier with Justice League Dark, um, there could be a connection there somewhere.
Anyway,
Yeah.
guys, that is pretty much it for this episode of Left Eye Ego, and we were wrapping up with Black Adam. Again, thank you guys for joining with us and rocking with us, and as well as having Accipiter on. He's definitely going to be coming back for more stuff, so get used to seeing him. All right, guys. For now, Ego out.